Welcome to US 64 in Arkansas. So US 64 in Arkansas goes about 245, 250 miles. It's part of US 64 that goes from North Carolina in the east all the way over to like the Four Corners area in Arizona. So it's over 2,000 miles, kind of like, Route 66, how it's long, old highway built in the 1920s, one of the original roads that would help people get from the east to the west. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to explore for the next 3 videos, about 80 or 90 miles a day. There's some, I'd say, bigger towns slash small cities. We're starting in Fort Smith, which has about 90,000 people. Very historic place. We're right here along the Arkansas River, and the first part of this road follows along the Arkansas River, and that's the way a lot of these old roads were. They would follow along things like rivers because that was the way people traveled back before there were roads. They would follow kind of along those river paths. And so yeah, we're gonna find some hopefully interesting towns, some historic places, and just like Fort Smith here, we'll learn a little bit about Fort Smith at the start, and then we'll get heading east and see what small towns and communities that Interstate 40 and other big highways like that have bypassed. Our first part of the trip, after we cross over the river in Fort Smith, we do it again as we go into Van Buren, then we'll head over to Alma, where we'll see a famous cartoon character. As we continue east, you see how we parallel with I-40, kind of go along the river. There's also the railroad, so everything is heading in that direction. Less towns, a little bit more wide open, and some scenic driving. Been a good start to the day so far. Some interesting little towns, certainly higher population than I hope that we'll have, you know, moving forward, kind of probably beyond today. I think today there will be quite a few towns with decent sized population, but just like Dyer there, you know, some really interesting old buildings and churches. So it's a Monday, so traffic is pretty constant. It's certainly a chilly day out, even though the sun's out, so it kind of is good for traveling, but also it's chilly to get out and explore a little bit. But how about the Popeye guy? That's pretty interesting. In Alma. So like what I thought, maybe some quirkiness in Arkansas, which I love. And let's continue on with the day. Our next section starts there around Ozark, and we start seeing more and more towns not too far away from each other. Our next town's just down the way, but this right here, I believe, is part of the original Route 64 that's kind of unnamed now. It's right here by Robin Way, and I believe that's it. Next section kind of starts heading southeast. As you can see, we follow the curvature of the river. More small towns as we continue to parallel I-40. we are rolling into Russellville, Arkansas. It's going to be our ending point for today. So I'll show you around a little bit here in a second. It's been an interesting day. You know, there were some really cool small towns and definitive like downtowns and historic places. And then there were some towns that you couldn't really find much. And they may still have 1,000 people or so, but there's not much of a historic area or downtown, old buildings and things like that. You know, you kind of look for the railroad, where the railroad used to go or where it still is, and you figure out a little bit like that. So most of them were to the south of 64, and then you would, you know, find some remnants of something. And some of them had a whole downtown in that area. So it was interesting. Definitely lots of towns and not many miles in between them. So if you want to see a lot of places in a short distance, a lot of different towns, this would be a good part of Highway 64 to check out. So I enjoyed it, and let's check out Russellville, and next week we'll continue from here through the middle part of Arkansas. Hey, thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And since you're here, let me tell you a little bit more about the extras on the channel. One of the first things you can do is become a member. There are 3 levels of support. There's supporter, producer, and executive producer levels. All 3 have different levels of fun incentives and perks. If you haven't done so, please check out travelwiththewiseguy.com. There are lots of extras on there to explore. One of them is merchandise. We have Travel with the Wise Guy coffee mugs, Death Go Round t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and all sorts of fun things to show your support of this channel. Also on the website is a custom Google map. I've dropped pins in every place I've visited and linked the episode to each location. This seems to be a very popular feature for many of you. Also, sign up for my free newsletter that goes out about once a month. There are all sorts of links and tidbits on this page, old videos, podcasts, and just about everything I can think of I throw on the website. Get all that information on travelwiththewiseguy.com. Now for the real reason you're here, the outtakes. And a cat just about got run over, but not by me, but about the other guy. Okay, let's start over. We're in the Ozark Park. And I already gave it a spin. It's been spinning for a little while. Very clean. Doesn't have a ton of character, but I do like green. I'm going to give it a 7.6.